Happy Feast of Saint Zélie and Louis Martin. Do you know that the parents of Saint Thérèse of the Child Jesus and of the Holy Face are also saints? On Sunday, October 18, 2015, Pope Francis presided at Mass in St. Peter's Square, which included the rite of canonization for Saints Zélie and Louis Martin. The Martins had been beatified earlier on October 19, 2008 by Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. Pope Francis stated in his homily, "The Holy Spouses, Louis Martin and Maria Zélie Guérin, practiced Christian service in the family, creating day by day an environment of faith and love, which nurtured the vocations of their daughters, among whom was Saint Thérèse of the Child Jesus and of the Holy Face. They are the first ever married couple with children to be canonized in the same ceremony." Louis Martin was born on August 22, 1823 in Bordeaux, France. He was a watchmaker by trade and quite a successful one. He also skillfully managed his wife's lace business. But as with so many men, Louis' life had not turned out at all the way he had planned. Born into a family of soldiers, Louis spent his early years at various French military posts. He absorbed the sense of order and discipline that army life engenders. His temperament, deeply influenced by the peculiar French connection between the mystical and the military, tended toward things of the spirit. Eventually, Louis settled down in Alençon, a small city in France, and pursued his watchmaking trade. He loved Alençon. It was a quiet place, and he was a quiet man. It even had a lovely trout stream nearby, offering him the opportunity to pursue his favorite recreation. At 22, young Louis sought to enter religious life at the monastery of the Augustinian canons of the great Saint Bernard Hospice in the Alps. The blend of courage and charity the monks and their famous dogs manifested in rescuing travelers in alpine snows appealed powerfully to Louis Martin. Unfortunately, his most determined efforts failed. He became ill and dispirited and abandoned his hopes for the monastic life. Zélie Guérin, on the other hand, was born on December 23, 1831, into a military family. Zélie described her childhood and youth as dismal. Her mother and father showed her little affection. As a young lady, she sought unsuccessfully to enter the religious order of the Sisters of the Hotel Dieu. Zélie then learned the Alençon lace-making technique and soon mastered this painstaking craft. Richly talented, creative, eager and endowed with common sense, she started her own business and became quite successful. Louis Martin and Zélie Guérin eventually met in Alençon, and on July 13, 1858, Louis 34 and Zélie 26 married after 3 months of courtship and began their remarkable voyage through life. For almost a year, the couple lived as celibates, but the advice of a confessor changed their minds, and they decided to raise as many children as possible for the glory of God. Within the next 15 years, Zélie bore 9 children, 7 girls and 2 boys. Zélie wrote, "We lived only for them. They were all our happiness." The Martins' delight in their children turned to shock and sorrow as tragedy relentlessly and mercilessly stalked their little ones. Within 3 years, Zelie's 2 baby boys, a 5-year-old girl and a 6.5-week-old infant girl, all died. Zelie was left numb with sadness, but her faith sustained her through these terrible ordeals. She said, "My children were not lost forever. Life is short and full of miseries, and we shall find our little ones again up above in heaven." The Martins' last child was born on January 2, 1873. She was weak and frail, and the doctors feared for the infant's life. The family, so used to death, was preparing for yet another blow. Zelie wrote of her 3-month-old girl, "I have no hope of saving her. The poor little thing suffers horribly. It breaks your heart to see her." But the baby girl proved to be much tougher than anyone realized. She survived the illness. A year later, as Zelie noted, she was a big baby, browned by the sun, full of life, giggles a lot, and is sheer joy to everyone. The couple lived modestly, reached out to the poor and the needy, and led daily prayers in the household. Saint Thérèse herself would later write about her parents. "God gave me a father and a mother who were more worthy of heaven than of earth." The series of tragedies had intensified the love of Louis and Zélie Martin for each other. They poured out their affection on their 5 surviving daughters: Marie, 12 years old at that time, Pauline, 11, Leonie, 9, Céline, 3, and their newborn. Louis and Zélie named her Marie-Françoise Thérèse Martin. In 1877, at age 45, Zélie Martin died of breast cancer. Louis and his daughters moved to Lisieux. Gradually, his daughters left to enter the convent. All of them entered religious life, with Marie, Pauline, Céline, and Thérèse joining the order of the Scots Carmelites, while Leonie joined the Visitation Sisters. A century later, people would know Marie-Françoise Thérèse as Saint Thérèse of the Child Jesus and of the Holy Face, and they would call her the Little Flower. Despite his loneliness, Louis said, "It is a great, great honor for me that the good Lord desires to take all of my children. If I had anything better, I would not hesitate to offer it to him." Louis died in 1894 after suffering greatly, including a 3-year stay in a psychiatric hospital. Saints Louis and Zélie Martin, pray for us. Amen.